All right, so happy Tuesday, everyone. It's March 22nd, and for today's Coffee with Tim, I'm going to go over some different automation things, um, some different workflow things, and I'm also going to kind of go over projects. So let's get started. One of the first things I want to show you is how you can automate different things that happen when you get leads in the system. So when you go over settings and to brands, for some of you, you may only have one brand, and that's fine, so just click on it. And that's going to take you to a lot of your different brand settings. The tab that I'm going to be showing you today is this inquiry automation tab. And so in here, when you use either the built-in Pixifi inquiry form, or if you use the email in custom address, either one, if you use either one, this is the section you'll want to go to set up different things that happen automatically once the lead comes in. So if you use the inquiry form, you can also customize its success message. You could actually, as soon as they fill out the inquiry form, you can actually send them to a different website, like on your website or whatever. Then when you scroll down, you'll see there's these different event type specific responses. And then down here is the general responses. So what you can do is you can have, as soon as a lead comes in, you can have it automatically reply to them with an email template you have. You can either set it for wedding type or non-wedding type, or you can go another step further and send a specific email response depending upon the event type that you have set up in Pixifi. So that's really cool. That way, each of your leads can get a very custom tailored email, back to them when they inquire. So it's just like an extra, level of customization that you can do. Then, depending upon what event type they choose, you can also set up a workflow for that lead, and you could create a different workflow template for every event type if you wanted. And then also down here on this apply lead status, inside of Pixifi there are lead statuses, and what you can do is have it just automatically assign them to a status as soon as they get added. So then you would just hit update. I'm going to show you my lead statuses real quick for some of you who don't use them or have never seen them. And I like to think of lead statuses as almost like their own sort of workflow. So here are my lead statuses. If you have none of them in here, a little blue button should show up where it lets you add just some demo ones, which are these. And you can assign a status to a lead so you know what status they're in. But you can also have it do different things for you. So whenever a lead gets applied this new lead status, it automatically applies a workflow template, similar to that section we were just in on the brands, but now it does it anytime you switch the lead to this status. It'll apply this workflow template. And then it'll also, if your lead stays in this status for 2 days, 3 weeks, 5 months, whatever time you set up, you can then either have it automatically switch to another lead status or archive the lead and then just choose what reason they were archived. So this is really cool because even if you did nothing to your lead, after 2 days, it would automatically switch to this need to send email. This need to follow up status, and then from here, this would then apply another workflow template. And then if it stayed in this status for 5 more days, then it would automatically switch to this status called stale. And then if somehow it still wasn't, still didn't do anything with this lead, then it would be archived. But the cool thing about that is that even if I'm, away on vacation or whatever, Pixify is still, switching statuses and following up with my leads, or at least just keeping an open dialogue with them, depending upon what I have set up in my workflow templates. And then by setting up these statuses, I also created this tool called the lead pipeline tool. And the cool thing about this is you can visually drag and drop your leads into these statuses, so you can kind of see where you are and where they are in the process. And as you drag them and drop them, it automatically applies the lead status. And I'm going to get a whole bunch of emails in the next few minutes because I just did this. But it now applied those workflow templates that I had set up in these lead statuses. So in my workflow templates, I have automatic questionnaires and automatic emails and tasks that are generated that just now got fired off for these 3 leads that I just drag and dropped right into the statuses. And also you'll see you can filter by status as well in this main listing too. So you could say, hey, show me all of my new leads, or initial email sent, or both. And so it's a great way to also kind of keep track of your leads as well, these statuses. So that's one really cool automation that you can do. I also want to jump into workflow templates for those of you who just either haven't jumped into workflows or want to see it a little further. But so I've got this workflow template set up, and this is a lead type workflow. You can either have an event workflow, a project workflow, or a lead workflow template, and they only apply to the specific type they are. So you can't apply a lead template to an event, and you can't apply an event template to a project. It has to be the specific type that it's set to. Some people have said, hey, I created this workflow template, but I'm not seeing it, and that's the reason why. It's type driven. So within each workflow template, you can set up these little sections called phases, and then within each phase, you can set up tasks for you to do. The cool thing about tasks is that you can also choose, if you have multiple staff members, you can choose who specifically they're assigned to. You can even color coordinate them. And tasks also support task categories. So you can do all of that within the phase, so that once they're applied, then all of those, all these different properties are automatically applied. So for those of you who have like multiple staff members, it makes perfect sense. Some staff members will do certain tasks and others will complete other tasks. So that's the and within each phase, you can have not just tasks, but you can also have actions, whether you want it to send an email or a questionnaire, and those actions will get fired off once all of the tasks are completed in that phase. So you can actually have it do stuff once you complete tasks, which is really cool. So in fact, I'll just add an email real quick action in here. I already have all these lead email templates already set up, but if I didn't, I could click this and create a new one real quick. I'm just going to hit save. And so once this task is completed in this phase, then it will send the email. Now that's great, that's awesome, but what about people like me who forget to log in and complete tasks? Sometimes I'm not on the ball and I forget to log in, and those emails aren't sent because I haven't actually completed every task in a phase. So that's where this cool automatic items section comes in. For here, as soon as this workflow template is applied to, in my case, a lead, then whatever is in here in this automatic item section will automatically be scheduled. So I could say, here, I want to send this, well, not this one, this is silly, but I want to send this email template 2 days after they've first contacted me, and just send it in the morning and notify my lead, and then hit save. I could also say, hey, or add a questionnaire. Send this questionnaire template using this email template because you need an email template to link to the questionnaire. And if you don't have a questionnaire email template, you can always create one just by clicking this button. And I want to send this 1 week after they first contacted me. And sure, send in the morning, that's fine. And so, well, I already had one in here, but a questionnaire. But as soon as this workflow is applied, these 3 items will be automatically scheduled. So 2 days after they first contact me, they'll get this email. 0 days after they first contact me, they'll get this questionnaire. And then 1 week after they've first contacted me, they'll get this questionnaire. So I know this is kind of a silly example because I don't know if I'd really want to send these at the times that I've just sent you, but that's the beauty of these demos. So I'm just going to real quick go into one of my leads and apply this workflow template so you can see what it looks like. So let's just go to Timmy test. test. All right. And I'm going to apply this test workflow template. And you'll see it created the 2 phases, and I can complete this task and it'll automatically send off this email. Let me make sure. Okay, good, it's my email address. So I'm going to complete this task, and now it just sent me that email. And the other thing that we wanted to look at in that workflow template were the questionnaires and the emails that got scheduled. So how come they aren't in here? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here in this questionnaires tab, you'll see this bottom section called scheduled questionnaires, and here are the 2 questionnaires that are scheduled to go out. Because this is an older lead, it's going off the dates of first contact. So these are both in the past. So when the emailer runs in the next 15 minutes, both of these will be sent at the same time, just because they're dates in the past. So I'm actually going to delete this real quick. And oops, I didn't actually click yes, there we go. And the email that got scheduled, you'll see it down here in this lead follow-up reminder section. Here is the email itself that got scheduled. And this is also a date in the past, so in the next 15 minutes it'll get sent. But I could always click here on this little link and change the date if I wanted to. I could also, if I click this where it says the response to send, I could say, actually, I wanted to send this as part of my workflow, but I actually instead want to send them this email template. And I could hit save and it'll send a different email. Or I could go even crazier and say, actually, send them a custom email. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab all of the email text from that email template, and then I can just customize it further and say something a little different, and then hit save. And then instead of sending the original email template, it'll now send that custom text that I just saved to it. Yes, hi.
Hi, Sasha Dale. I have a
Hi,
question
Sasha.
on the custom. That's what I do a lot because I'd like to make mine personal to my clients.
Yeah.
Can you, once you create that custom email, I haven't figured out how to reopen it to edit it. I feel like I would need to just create a new custom one if I decide I want to look to see what I wrote to send to them. Do you know what I'm saying?
So, once it's been sent?
No, say right now I typed up a custom email to send in 3 weeks, and then in 2 weeks from now I decide to just check. I forget what I wrote to them, and I want to just double check to make sure whatever I wrote still applies before it sends.
Yeah.
Can you reopen the custom one that I typed up? Because for some reason I've not been able to figure that out.
Let me refresh this just to make sure, because if not, then that's just a bug, and I can fix that. So let me go back to the front page. Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. All of a sudden, now that it's custom, it's no longer linkable. Yeah, so I'll definitely do that because all the data is still there. So
okay.
I think it's just a like a logic error, it's probably like, whoa,
I'm
don't make it
probably the
anyway.
only
So
person that does the custom ones. I'm sure everybody just uses their templates. I'm like OCD like that. I want my clients to think like I'm like totally paying attention to them and their needs so they spend more money. So,
definitely, no, it's great. It's great. Um, I'll take care of that.
okay. Thank you.
No, thank you for bringing that up. That's great. It's awesome. All right. Um, so when that is working, you'll be able to use that,
Perfect.
and yeah, that'll be good. So I hope that all of this workflow stuff and the automation stuff that I just showed you guys makes sense. Does anyone else have um, any questions so far before I continue on? You can feel free to either unmute yourself and ask it, or just type in that little group chat window on the side. Okay, I haven't seen any questions, so I'm going to move forward with the other thing that I wanted to show you guys. Um, I get questions a lot of the time. Um, Tim, what is the difference between an event and a project? So I'm going to show you both, an event and a project. So I went over to side nav bar. I'm just going to make it wider so you guys can see the labels. Go over to things to do and then events. And then here I'm brought to my events calendar. And then here I can view a whole listing of my events. Right now I have what's going on this week, but I could do what's going on this month, all these different filters. So I'm going to pull up this real quick test event. Okay, so events are, it's an event. So an event is tied to a specific date on your calendar, and you can have staff assigned to it. You can add vendors, tasks, workflow, locations, event timelines. You can have products that you need to work on, invoices. You can have galleries that show up. You can like link to them, different galleries to show up in their client portals. You can add questionnaires, contracts, track time, see what kind of money is going on with that event. But it's all tied to either a specific date or dates, depending upon if it's a multi-day event or not. Whereas a project, let me just go to a little test project. A project isn't tied to a specific date on your calendar. You have a start date and an end date and even a percent complete, but it's not tied to a specific date like an event would be. You still do get workflow and tasks, invoices, questionnaires, contracts. You can track time and view money and all that other stuff. It's just not tied to a specific date on the calendar. So people use projects for all kinds of stuff, really. Whereas an event would be traditionally like a wedding or a portrait shoot or something like that. People are using projects to track like the album building process. So they'll create a specific project workflow just for building out an album. The initial choosing of the images phase and the design phase and stuff like that. So really the sky's the limit for what you could do with a project, and it's still tied to your client, so you can still go back to your client at any time and see what events and projects they have assigned to them. But it's very flexible. So and then you can track time, so you can keep track of all the tasks that you're working on for that project, and you can even invoice for that time and still have them sign contracts and all kinds of stuff like that. So I hope Um, hope that that kind of goes over the differences. Um, does anyone have any questions about that or anything else? Like now that I've shown it and it's recorded in this video, we can literally go over anything you guys want to ask questions about, or about this as well.
I have a quick question, actually. I don't know if you sell gift cards to people. I do, and so right now I guess I just kind of make a separate invoice under the client without putting it to an event or project. But at the end of the year, it'd be nice to see how many gift cards I sold or how many gifts, in case I have individual product orders throughout the year that aren't related to an event. How would I guess how would you recommend doing that so I can still go back and look to see at the end of the year?
Well, I'm actually working on a gift card module so that um, so that that would take care of that. Right now, I'm not even sure what the best way you would be able to do that in Pixifi is right now,
Okay.
because technically, it's not really income. It's more of like a liability or whatever they call it until they actually spend it. So, but I'm working on a module where you'll be able to, generate the automatic gift card numbers. They'll be able to check on their balances at any time from the client portal. They can apply it to invoices, and they'll even be able to use it from proposals or booking pages. So it's going to be really, really cool.
Okay.
Once it's done. Just because you're not alone. Actually, a lot of people have been asking. Tim, I really want to start offering gift cards, and there's just no way to do it in Pixifi yet. So that's definitely a limitation. But I'll be sure to actually have you help me test it once I get it going.
That would be great. I would love to have a link on my site so people could literally click on it and order a gift card without even having to deal with me if they wanted to do it that way too for somebody. But
exactly, and it doesn't have to be something where they can only order it from the client portal. You could have them just go right there and buy it for anybody. It doesn't even have to be for a client that's in the system.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, what's
up? Can you hear me? Okay. First, and this just popped up as we were talking about gift cards. Do you have any kind of relationship with any kind of lab so that we could merge Pixifi with any labs so that we could let a client purchase products, or do you just recommend we use the labs that we're using?
I would say for now. Oh, big echo. Sorry. I would say for now, just use the companies that you use for ordering that kind of stuff, because we really don't have anything gallery related or lab related with Pixifi. So yeah, for now I would say just use the vendors that you currently use for that stuff.
Okay. My next question is, so I'm actually the marketing manager for our company, and it's just myself and Neil, who's the photographer, and we've only recently started using Pixifi. And I'm trying to figure out two things. Number one, a way for us to sort of track our weekly meetings and the tasks that he needs to do and that I need to do. How would you recommend that we use Pixifi to organize a weekly meeting and an agenda and any tasks that we would need to be talking about? Right now I'm using projects, and I've just created a project for weekly meeting, and then I've been creating tasks in there, but the problem that I'm having is this task may be associated with another project.
That's a good question. I mean, you could do it either as a project or as an event. I don't think that part really matters, because you could definitely, like if I wanted to see a meeting I had on my calendar, I would just create that as an event. So I could just go, hey, here's the 22nd. You would set yourself up as a client in the system, and then instead of wedding or something like this, I could just set this as a meeting. And we had it at 3 o'clock, and it went for a long time. It was a long meeting. Um, and so in this event, you could actually, I mean, there's a couple things you could do. Are you creating tasks based on what you talked about, or are they
Both.
all?
Well, some of them, the first meeting, the meeting will start with things that we should have been doing or that we didn't do, and then we're also creating tasks for the next week or the next day.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess workflow probably wouldn't work for that case because
Right.
workflow are always
Right.
predefined.
Right.
But I mean, you could
Mhm.
definitely go in and just create a task, assign it to whoever you need to assign it to, um,
Mhm.
and then just in the notes you would say what project it's for. The cool thing in Pixify is, well, not really a cool thing, but just in browser technology anyway. Um, like for this project, I could go up into the address bar, copy it, and I could say, hey, for
Okay.
this project, paste it
Mhm.
in. Now it's linkable, and when I go and work on that task, I can just click on that link, and it'll bring me to that project. Since tasks can only be assigned to either one event or one project, I could just, in the notes say, hey, it's for this project.
Okay, there we go. Okay, that would be okay. So probably better for me to do that versus a project like these meetings. Probably
Yeah.
better to have it as a task. Okay. Okay, that's very helpful. I had one more question about that. I don't want to take up too much time if someone else has a question. I'll kind of pause, and if someone else has a question, I'll think of mine.
Cool. If anyone else has a question, feel free to unmute yourself.
Hey,
Yo,
hey Tim.
how are you?
Good man. Um, I don't. Well, I guess it's kind of a question or I guess feature idea or whatever. Um, so the calendar link for the tasks thing, I love it. Um, that's something I've been wanting for a while.
Oh, in the tasks module?
Yeah, I love that. My I guess idea was I never really used the timeline feature.
Okay.
Um, But whenever I'm importing, well, okay, so if I've got a client, they give me their timeline or we plan it or whatever, I'll usually input it into a separate Google Calendar and I enter everything like one by one. And I went
Oh,
back
wow.
and looked
Like as
at,
separate events, like each section of the day?
yeah. So I didn't realize like the timeline builder in Pixify was kind of like almost visual where you can kind of just go in and drop in little things.
Yeah.
So my, I guess, idea slash suggestion would be, could you create like a Google Calendar link for that? That way, like, it just syncs, and I don't have to worry about input.
Oh. So basically, take each of these little time segments and create them as like a mini event sort of a thing?
Yeah. Kind of like how the tasks do as well. And then
Yeah.
that way, like, wedding day, I just look in my phone and everything's in there.
Yeah, cool. I don't see why not.
I totally
Sweet.
agree.
Wait, can
Who
you
said they
back up?
totally agree? Who said that? Just kidding. Is that Lauren?
I agree, Lauren. Sorry, wait. On.
Tim, can you back up a little bit just so I know what you're talking about?
Oh,
For a
yeah, absolutely. So,
I kind of lost you there.
yeah, no problem. So what Anthony was talking about, I'll go back first. In the things to do, let me just increase this little things to do tasks in the regular
Okay.
task module. If you go up to actions and then export calendar, it creates this little feed, calendar feed, and you can subscribe to that in iCal or Google Calendar. Maybe not Google because they cache it 24 hours, so you won't see the updated list until the next day. But if you use Google Calendar, you could still at least subscribe to it and just know that it's not technically real time because dang you, Google. But anyway, so that's one way you can view all the tasks here in Pixify on your calendar. And then the other thing he was talking about was in each event, so yeah, things to do and events, and then I'm inside a specific event, the meeting I was making for you. There's this timelines tab.
Okay.
And in here, you can set up a timeline. I originally designed it for weddings, but I mean technically any event that has a timeline, you can go in here, and so you create the template or create the timeline first, and then you just add items to it. So I have getting ready, the ceremony, post-ceremony, cocktail hour, and I created these as a timeline template. So if you go to templates, actually I think it's just things to do, timelines. Yeah, so here are the ones I've already created for events, and then in here are timeline templates. So you can just create a template and then add it to your event, and then from there you can just kind of either drag and change, or you could technically click here and then just update the times. You can even, if you've added locations to your event, you can select them here, so that way you know the getting ready part of the day is at one of my locations. So I could just say it's at this hotel, and let me just hit save. And so now my timeline, I can say here, the getting ready is at this hotel.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, hi.
I have a question, because I use these timelines, and often I like to customize them with the bride and groom's name.
Yeah.
And I create templates, and based off that is putting like fields that would autofill, like the bride's name and the groom's name, an option or a possibility maybe in the future.
So it'd be like getting ready.
More in the description.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, that basically.
So I would just add variable support to, and this would say, hey, I'm getting ready with, instead of just saying bride, it would say getting ready with Jenny or something like that.
Yeah, or like at this time, Jenny needs to be ready at this blah blah blah, and the groom, instead of putting just groom, the groom's name would autofill.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I don't see why not, especially because then by adding that in the template, you don't have to type their name every time. So
exactly, or accidentally send one out with someone else's names in it.
Oh, like if you saved it in the template. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've done that.
Who the heck is this Kristen? That's not me. Yeah. Absolutely, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, so variables or tokens or whatever you want to call them, support for timeline templates. I love that.
It doesn't even have to be detailed, but if it was just like the names, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Oh, and then I'm going to write that down, Anthony, since I just wrote down hers. A way to export this as like a calendar, instead of just exporting as a PDF, that you could export it as, a full day's worth of like micro events, or whatever you want to call them. I love that.
Awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Does anybody? Holy mackerel! We only have 25 minutes left. Oh, that's tons of time. Anyone else have any questions or things they want to see?
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I just sent you an email, Tim, because I have all these questions about projects and ideas for feature upgrades.
Yeah.
I sent you a spreadsheet. Is that a good way to give you suggestions? Like I put in a Google spreadsheet.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because then I'll just log on to that and see what you're asking for. Sure.
Okay, because instead of kind of talking about some of it here, I'll just let you look at it and decide which ones you would have time or are important to add.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind adding tons of features as long as people are willing to wait. So literally give me every feature request you could ever want, and then just as I can get to it, I'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I was thinking of a way that we could also make it like other people could look at it, and then they could, if they agree with it and it's something they would like, to kind of exit off or something. The things that people request would be higher up. So
yeah.
I don't know
The only reason why I've always shied away from that is because then feature requests that get tons of likes, people think that I'm going to automatically just make it. So I don't want people to get their hopes up seeing 400 people have liked this feature, and then I don't make it until a year later, and I just don't want there to be too high of expectations, if you know what I mean.
Maybe we should just
So
clone
then,
you.
What'd you say, Laura?
Maybe we should just clone you.
Oh gosh, I need another me. Truly,
Yeah.
I truly do.
I just sent you an email about the timelines,
Yeah.
the formatting on them. I
Cool.
just forwarded you an older timeline to look at it because it comes across kind of wonky.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure why. But I just hadn't mentioned it, and I just thought of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a look once we get off here and then see what's going on.
Awesome.
can you,
Usually.
for a timeline, can you make it different days? Or is it just a 1 day?
Yeah, for timelines, it's just a single day.
But you can make multi-day events, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so in this event, you could say, like right now, it says that it's going to happen on the 22nd. If I hit this multi-day event, then I could say now it's going to happen from the 22nd to the 25th. And then, let me just hit update real quick. And then technically, if you wanted to, in the timelines, you could create multiple. So I could say this one, this wedding day template, let me hit the edit details, is for the 22nd. And this one is for the 23rd. And so each day you could have your own timeline.
Okay.
And then with Anthony's request, once I add another export feature to export it to the calendar, then you would actually just see these as little events going on that same day. So yeah. I'm just going to delete these tests. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Oh, one other question.
Yeah, what's going on?
Do you have a suggestion of how to send clients after the fact the pictures that they ordered?
So it depends on what system you use. What system do you currently use for like giving them all their photos and stuff?
What do you mean? I'm not sure if I even know the answer, but what do you mean by what system?
Well, how do you currently deliver your the images that they've chosen? Oh, do you even do digitals? Is that what you're saying? Like, are you talking about print or?
No, I'm not talking about digital. No, I'm not talking about digital. I'm talking about like which pictures they've ordered. Like, one's a 8x10, one's a.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then.
like a template for print orders.
Right. So it depends on. Like, we don't really have an integration with something like that, so I'm not really sure how you would. Do you use ProSelect at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I know that we use Zenfolio.
Zenfolio? Okay.
At least. Yeah. I mean, invoices, or is there like a good way to send them, just to sort of mark it and then send them which print orders, but also have it in Pixifi so we, at a later date can go back?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do it with an invoice. I'm just going to put a quick test invoice real quick. So in your invoice, in the line item section, you could you could just add a line item detail and say, oh, well, I mean, there's a couple ways you could do it. Either in the main line item, there's this detailed description field now. That's a new thing. You could literally say they ordered 8x10 and exactly what image too, if you already know the file name.
Right.
In the quantity they ordered 5 of the bottom. You could have that either in the main description, or you could add them as line item details under it. So
Got it.
um,
And excuse me. Okay. And where are you right now? I know you're in Invoices, but where were you before that? You in a contact?
oh, I was in that meeting that we had for that test meeting.
Okay.
So in the event, I went to the Invoices tab, clicked on Create New
Okay.
Invoice, and then it took me to the Invoice Builder, and then I was able to it automatically, when you first create a new one, it takes you right to the Edit Invoice tab, just so that you can start editing stuff. But then you can always go back to View and see what's going on.
Okay, so you were in an event which was attached to a client.
Yep.
Correct?
Uh-huh.
Got it.
In my case, I never actually attached it to a client, so it's there's no client name right here in this breadcrumb bar, so that's why it's not actually assigned to any client.
Good, and then you could also find that event through the client, correct, too, as well as the calendar,
Yeah.
correct?
That's the way I usually would do it if I had actually assigned that test event to a client. Yep. And when you go to their client record, you'd see all the projects and all the events. Yep.
Okay, great.
Cool. Does anyone else have any other questions? Anything else they'd like to see?
So, yeah, I have a question. So I'm in, like, client info. Where do their events show up? And my computer's really slow right now, so it could just be that not everything's loaded. But, okay, if you go into a client.
Yep. Just load them up.
Thanks.
So here.
Okay, there are the events. Okay.
Yeah, all the events, all their projects. Yeah, all that stuff.
Great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I guess since this video is recorded, I might as well just show this. People have been asking, how do I even log in to see what my client sees in their client portal? And since this is being recorded, when you're in their client's profile, just hover over Actions or click on it, depending upon your browser, and then you can log into their client portal. If you have sharing set up, which is settings sharing, where you can share templates and leads and other stuff like that with other Pixifi users. You can also even share your client with one of them. It'll just make a copy, just like it does with all the other things. It just makes a copy. So if you edit information here, it's not going to edit it on their account. But if you and another studio have the same client, you can, rather than having to retype it all, you can just share it. So, and this, since I'm here, this share pricing. Inside of Pixifi, you can have pricing pages, which just display your packages and add-ons and stuff like that. So let me just go to like a sample one right here. Here are my wedding packages. If I just send someone to my pricing page by itself, when they choose a package and any of the other items that they want to add on the last page, it's going to ask them for their info. It's going to create a lead and a proposal from this thing. But if I go up to Actions and Share Pricing, so this is actually an existing client, and let me just choose a real quick. Doesn't matter. Here I can say, here I'm going to send them to this pricing page, and then insert it. And so when they go to this specific link, so it already shows that that's been selected. Go to details. And now, rather than asking me for info, I'm just going to request a proposal. And now it'll create a proposal for this client, and we'll see it right in here. So That way you don't create another lead for a client and they have to enter all their info again. So you can just do share pricing. Awesome. Cool.
Tim,
Anyone else?
would you recommend we use that pricing page for a sale we're going to do for Mother's Day, where we have a couple of different packages?
I mean, you definitely could, especially if you want to then send the people who are inquiring a proposal. Is your event going to be time slot based, or
Well,
like is your sale? Go ahead.
The first two are not. The first two are something we just do online with them, and the third would be a studio shoot.
Okay. So, I mean, in that case, maybe a pricing page could work for those first two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you could just send them a proposal, and they can, sign a contract and make a payment all from that proposal after they fill out the pricing page. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
We got about 12 minutes left. Anyone else want to see anything? Any questions? Now is the time. Sorry, I just figured I'd be silly. Well, since no one else has asked any questions, I'm just going to show two things because people, I don't know if they just don't know, but one of the two is that you can edit your dashboard. I've seen a lot of people who just have that default dashboard. So what you do is you just, let me widen this real quick, go to dashboard and then edit dashboard. And then you can literally just click and drag and order what widgets you want in one spots. I think everyone who hasn't done that should really get in there and customize it, because there's a lot of cool widgets that you don't see by default. So definitely go in there. And then another thing that you should do is over here on your profile, which you can also get to by going to contacts and staff. But if you go to your profile, in this personal settings area, you can set a background picture. The default gray is simple and it's boring. So feel free to get in there and customize it with one of these images, or if you want, you can also just paste in a URL to an image that you've hosted somewhere. So yeah. Cool. Oh, and don't forget to actually hit update. Cool. So it's been great. I hope I've answered all of your questions and shown you guys some really cool stuff. And have some good feature requests now, so I'll add those to the list and see when I can get cracking on them. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday for Coffee with Tim. Peace. I love it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.